So first off, congratulations. You actually did it. You've secured support from Eurimages, which, as you know, is one of the most prestigious film funds in the entire world. It's a massive vote of confidence in your project and really in you as a producer. But getting the funding, that's just the first peak you've climbed. Now we need to talk about the whole mountain range ahead of you, repayment. Welcome to your deep dive masterclass on navigating your financial obligations to Eurimages. Okay, let's get right into it. The second you sign that agreement, you enter a totally new phase of responsibility. This isn't just about making a fantastic film anymore. It's about managing a really complex financial instrument with absolute precision and integrity. You know, getting this wrong doesn't just put your project at risk, it can genuinely impact your entire career. The stakes are definitely high, but that's exactly why we're here, to give you the strategic clarity you need to nail this. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the foundational principles inside your funding agreement. Then we'll get into the real nitty-gritty of your financials, what actually counts as income, and maybe even more importantly, what you can deduct from it. We'll cover the discipline of reporting, and we'll finish up with the critical errors you absolutely have to avoid to protect yourself and your career. Let's begin. Everything, and I mean everything we're about to discuss, flows from one central document, your support agreement. Understanding its core repayment principle isn't just, a good idea. It is the absolute foundation of your financial responsibility as a producer. Now, this right here is the first critical legal step you have to internalize. What I love about this is its beautiful, brutal simplicity. From the first euro. Just let that sink in for a second. There is no grace period. There's no box office target you have to hit before you start repaying. If your film wins a tiny €500 prize at its premiere, guess what? A portion of that money belongs to Eurimages. This is the single most important rule to burn into your memory. So how much do you pay back from that very first euro? Well, this is your second critical step. You have to master your repayment rate. The calculation, thankfully, is pretty straightforward. Your rate is simply the percentage that Eurimages contributed to your film's total financing. So if Eurimages funded, say, 10% of your budget, you repay 10% of every single euro of net receipts until that support is fully paid back. This is non-negotiable. It's a proportional relationship that's defined right there in your agreement. All right, let's move on to the next key concept, and you'll see how this all builds. If you're repaying based on net receipts, well, we need a crystal clear definition of what that term actually means. This is where meticulous accounting becomes your absolute best friend, because every single revenue stream from every corner of the globe has to be tracked. So here's the official formula. Producers' net receipts is all the money your film makes from its exploitation. And when they say all, they mean all. A theatrical run in South Korea, a TV sale in Germany, an educational DVD sale in Canada, a VOD stream in Brazil. It all gets thrown into one big pot. Then you subtract a very specific list of deductible costs, which we're going to cover in a lot of detail next. The crucial thing to get here is this is not just about the box office. It's everything. And this slide really shows just how broad that definition is. We're talking about all the traditional revenue streams, plus things like merchandising and remake rights. Now, here is the third critical legal step, and it's one where a lot of producers get into trouble. Pay close attention to that last point, pre-sales and distribution guarantees. If a distributor paid you a minimum guarantee that was not declared as part of your initial production financing plan, the one Eurimages approved, then that money is considered revenue, and yeah, it is subject to repayment. Okay, this next section, this is where producers can either make or break their financial strategy. Understanding what you can legally and legitimately deduct from your gross revenue isn't just accounting. It's a critical tool for managing your film's financial health and, of course, your repayment obligations. Here is your fourth critical step. You need to master these four categories, and Eurimages is extremely specific about this. Number one, distribution commission. And it has strict caps. Number two, technical costs, like lab work or creating a DCP, and prints and advertising. But, and this is a big but, only if these costs weren't already in the production budget you submitted. 3, certain taxes like VAT that you can't reclaim. And 4, administrative fees like customs or censorship board costs. That's it. Do not assume any other business expense is deductible. Let's drill down on that first category, distribution commission, because it's usually the biggest one. This number, 25%, I want you to burn it into your brain. This is the standard upper limit that Eurimages will accept for a distribution commission or a sales agent's fee. So if your contract has a 30% fee, you can only deduct 25%. That extra 5%, it's coming out of your pocket. This is a key number to have in your mind when you're negotiating every single sales contract. Now, there is one major exception to that 25% rule, and this slide breaks it down perfectly. Eurimages might accept a sales agent fee of up to 50% if, and this is a big if, it's an all-inclusive fee. This means the agent's commission plus all the technical and publicity costs are bundled into that single fee. Strategically, you might choose this if you have a sales agent who can get you a great deal on marketing. Otherwise, the standard 25% plus itemized costs is often a lot more transparent. You have to pick one path or the other. And just to be perfectly 100% clear, there are several common film financing items that are explicitly not deductible. Deferrals you promise to your director or your cast, royalty payments, any other kind of profit-sharing agreement. You can't use these to reduce your net receipts. Think of it this way. Eurimages is a primary financier. They took a risk on you. They have to be repaid before any of the participants who deferred their fees get paid. Those payments have to come from the producer's share after Eurimages has received its repayment. This is a perfect moment to just hit pause. I'm serious. Bookmark this part of the explainer, go get your sales agent agreement, get your distribution contracts, and put them side by side with the rules on these last few slides. Does your commission structure comply? Are your P&A costs accounted for correctly? Verifying this right now can save you a world of financial pain and legal trouble down the road. So once you've mastered the calculations, you have to master the process. Accurate, transparent, and timely reporting isn't just some administrative chore. It's an essential professional discipline that shows your credibility as a producer and keeps you in good standing for future projects. The cycle is annual and it is mandatory. Throughout the year, you or your sales agent are collecting revenue. At least once a year, you have to consolidate all of that data, apply the deduction rules we just talked about, and then submit a formal revenue statement through the Eurimages online portal. If that statement shows that a payment is due, you've got 1 month from the invoice date to make it happen. And this is a point that trips up so many producers. You have to submit a statement every single year without fail, even if your film made absolutely no money or your net receipts were zero or even negative. Why? Well, because it maintains a continuous, unbroken chain of financial oversight. This obligation to report only ends when the support from Eurimages has been 100% repaid. There are no exceptions. All right, we've covered the rules. Now let's talk about the consequences of breaking them. This final section isn't meant to scare you, but it is meant to impress upon you the seriousness of this agreement and, of course, help you avoid some really career-damaging mistakes. Here is your fifth and final critical legal step. Pay very close attention to this clause. It's all about your film's chain of title. Assignment of rights, that's just a fancy way of saying selling or transferring the legal right to exploit your film to another company. See, you, the producer, were the one granted the support. You cannot just go and sell those rights without getting written permission from Eurimages first, because it changes who is legally responsible for the repayment. So, the crucial point is that you have two paths. The path of compliance means clear reporting, timely payments, and getting approvals when you need them. The result? You remain a trusted partner, and you're eligible for future funding. But the path of breach, hiding revenue, not paying, selling rights without approval, that leads to one place: an immediate demand for the full repayment of the entire support amount. And the costs of that breach are severe. It's not just the immediate demand for full repayment. Eurimages will also charge punitive interest of 1% per month on the outstanding amount. And, maybe most damaging of all, you and your company will be deemed ineligible for any new support, which effectively closes the door on one of Europe's most vital funding sources. It's just not worth the risk. So we end with this question. Your creative vision is what got you this far. It's what's going to make your film a success. But in the world of international co-production, a strong, compliant financial strategy is what ensures you have a sustainable career. Treat your financial obligations with the same passion and precision you bring to your storytelling, and you won't just succeed on this project, you'll succeed on many more to come.